Us now. Let me see if I could channel David Choe right now. You wanna do the punk? I can make fun of it now. I went on the Joe Rogan podcast a year, 2 years ago. I don't know. Time's so relative. I lose track. It feels like last year, but I bet you it was like 2 years ago. And I was able to, Joe's the guy that shaves his head, and I'm in my bathroom right now, actually throwing away my foams. You guys know what that is? Foams. Any middle-aged man out there? Um, there's like these hair Rogaine. I don't know, different ones. I have all of them. People send me shit. They heard me on that podcast. They sent all kinds of stuff. What did I say? My options were, as a middle-aged man whose hair's starting to thin, it's either shave your head, get hair plugs. There's all these new technologies, or takes all those medications and stuff. I don't know. I'm not gonna do any of that stuff. I'll just shave my head or just look like George Costanza. But I'm thinking about this morning because of an acceptable form of punishment growing up in my house was doing the punk. You're doing the punk. Yeah, we're doing the punk. And that was to pick your child up by their hair, which I can make fun of right now, but it was extremely painful. And I'm kind of thinking where I'm receiving most of my hair loss was where my mom picked me up by my hair, like a handlebar. Mom's, she's a short, she's got strength, she's got power. She just like whip her hand out, just grab a handful and just lift us up by there. And that was very painful. And sometimes she'd pick us, when we're smaller, especially, she'd pick us up. I'm talking about child abuse, by the way. I'm making jokes about child abuse. She'd say, "You want to do the punk?" And you can imagine the reason why it was called the punk is after she picked us up by our hair would stand up like a mohawk. No gel, no depth, number 5, none of that stuff. No mousse, no hairspray. And so, no, we did not want to do the punk. We didn't even know we were too young. We didn't know what the hell punk music was. And so, I think back to my childhood of, you know, um, the religious abuse, the spiritual abuse. I grew up in a really fucked up cult. Uh, uh, Christianity, super hardcore born again Christian, very organized religion type. I'm sure a lot of you here have been raised in that way, and so that was not open for debate. That was non-negotiable. Every Sunday we're going to church, and we we effing hated church. We hated it, and yet mom's was like, "You're going," and I'm the middle child. There's 3 of us, and my brother would do the punk. And I would just sit there, and it's the same debate every weekend, the same effing fight. I'm like, why are you arguing with her? You just lie to her and say you're going, and then we sneak out the back. So OMC on Western Koreatown, and then you go to KFC, the one right there, and that's where we'd hang out. Why don't you? You're not going to change your mind. Why don't you just lie to her? And he always fought. My brother, he was the rebel. He's like, no, I ain't going to your effing. I don't believe in God. I love Satan. And they would fight. She'd do the punk to him, and it's like, well, and what about you? What do you got to say? "Oh, I love God. I love Jesus. I don't want to do the punk. I just comb my hair. Um, I'll go." And so, go along to get along. And now I'm sitting here, you know, with my thinning hair, throwing out my hair foams, thinking about my mom, and I'm like, where did I learn that? You guys know where that's going. I learned it from you, Dad. I learned it from you, Mom. I learned it from my mom. I learned it from my very, very religious mother, who, believes in God and the Ten Commandments and all that, but also basically said anything, did anything, gaslit, manipulated, lied to get what she wanted. So I learned it from her. So when it was my time, hey, are you going to rebel and not go to church? I was like, no, Mom, I love God. I'm going to go to church. I tell her what she needs to hear, and then I go off and do my own thing. So I was groomed, I was trained at a very young age for that. And then I reflect on my art career. Oh, you're going to start talking about art again? Yes, I am. And specifically, graffiti. Graffiti pate. Uh, what is that? Graffiti is, first of all, it's not an art form, it's vandalism. It's destroying public property, it's destroying private property, it's vandalism. Can be punished, you get punished for it. Fines, jail time, juvie time. What was that? That's very aggressive, passive aggressive. That's, I don't care what you think. I don't care about editors or teachers or approval. I am going to paint and say and do whatever I want on the wall, on your car, on anything. And well, someone's got to clean that up. Someone's got to pay for that. That makes the neighborhood look like this. I don't give a F. So, I grew up in a like this kind of unstable, emotionally unstable um, childhood where, I lived in fear, and I loved having two brothers and we fought and all that. But look, I'm not painting a portrait of just. I loved my family. I still love my family. I see my family every Sunday. Um, but I will discuss the good and the bad. So there was this life of walking on eggshells and being very careful what you say. And if you say the wrong thing, then you get punked. Um, and so and then that created the type of art I went into, or the crime I went into, which was vandalism, which was I present as Sicario Steve. I present as a very, if you guys have not seen that movie, go watch Sicario and look up the character Steve. I call him Sicario Steve. You would never guess he's a hired, trained murderer. Um, and so no one knew that. I didn't have paint on my hands. Uh, the way I looked with, button up shirt, hair combed, cowlick, the whole thing with a little S like Clark Kent. That was my secret identity, and nobody knew. Nobody knew what I went out and did at night. The things I have to tell you, I go out late at night, and if I was to tell you, you'd see my different side. Is that how that song goes? So I had this like private life, and I know we live right now in the age of entitlement where, you know, I want what I want and I want it now, and the instant gratification, right? And you guys have heard me in the past sexually when I say coming is overrated, and I stand by that. When in life, when you've been instantly gratified, has it worked out long term? And I'm not saying I want to know, but I say for me, using an I statement, when I delay gratification, when I work for things, when I limit myself, when I show discipline, um, you know. Anyways, this is a life of chaos. That starting from lying and not telling the truth, and then going to art form that was all about deception, going out late at night, hiding what you do. Why is there paint on your good clothes? Getting beat for that. Um, it just created a life of absolute chaos and a life of deception, a life of many faces, and a life of just just weird entitlement and no disregard for how my actions impacted other people. Oh, you just painted on that wall. Yeah, isn't it cool? That's a big whale, but someone owns that business. Yeah, so what? Um, so what's the answer? Well, it's always the same thing. Everything I ever say ends the same: surrender. There's so much relief and even weirdly control and bravery and all these things involved with surrender. Tell the truth and tell it faster. Sometimes it takes people 20 years to tell the truth. Sometimes it takes them days, weeks. Just tell it faster. Tell on yourself right now. My first job I ever had was management company. I started that when I was 6, maybe younger, 5 years old. You were a management. You were a co-manager of which department? You know, all was regional K Town management of people's emotions and feelings. Most of the chaos in my life is related directly to me trying to, do you guys like me? Do you like my art? Am I okay? Is managing my mom's emotions, my family's emotions, my friends, ex-girlfriends, like whoever. I'm always trying to make sure I'm validated. I'm okay. Everyone good? Everyone good? And it has lead to a life of insanity, chaos, addictions, all this stuff. So you just surrender. I surrender. I tell the truth. I tell it faster. And that also helps when it comes to my art. I don't have to hide behind layers and layers. You got to read a book to understand how weird my art is, and take a art history class and understand the history of art, expressionism, and postmodern. Blah, 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 blah. Tell the truth and tell it faster. All my actions have impact on others and to the world, actually. I remember that being a kid, just like slamming doors. Slam! I would love to hear if anyone listening right now has ever slammed, like where it breaks the window. Just like slam the door as hard as you can. So I think back to just physically, literally, metaphorically, spiritually, just slamming doors in my life. And I'll never love again, and I'll never like these kind of people again, and I'll never. And each wall that's slammed and nailed shut creates another wall. It fortifies the fortress. The defenses. It's just let love in. No, I'll sneak in under the cracks. No, I have so much love in my life today. I laugh. I have a lot of light in my life. I love talking to you guys. I love sharing my life with you guys. I have this image in my head of love was, I I was dead inside. I'd killed myself. I'd killed anything that felt anything. I'd depleted all joy receptors, everything. And so that was just a barren castle. I'm a walking fortress, no emotion. There's nothing left, you know. Hey, David, you having fun? No. I mean, yeah, I'm having a great time. Oh, really? Like, you don't really look like it. Um, and so I didn't just like where my life was going. I didn't like where my art was going. I just didn't like where anything was going. And then there was an opportunity for some light to shine in, and love was about to enter my life. Love in all of its magical forms and all its mysterious and it was coming through the door, and I was I was getting the key. I was like trying to slam the door. I was trying to shut it, but it was leaking in like paint. And I was like getting a broom, quick, fuck, and I slammed it, and then the love just exploded in, and it just came in, and it went through all the cracks, and then everything got waterlogged, and all the walls molded and came down, and the light and the love shined through. What in your life have you slammed the door on? What have you slammed the door on in your life? You know, I think of right now, related, unrelated, Lilo and Stitch, right? We live in America. I live in America. If I go to Disneyland, if I go to the Disney store or whatever, it's Mickey Mouse, it's Beauty and the Beast. What else? You don't see Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch is from like 20 years ago. That's Disney going, okay, for our different markets, for different regions, like, you know, we slammed the door on Lilo and Stitch. They're a wrap, they're a cut, but not in Japan. If you go to a Disney store in Japan, it's half the store is Lilo and Stitch. So you never slam the door on anything. It leaks out in other places. Are you leaking, bro? Steve Yuen explained me this concept of leaking. You know, sometimes you act and you get so into character that it starts leaking out into your real life. But we're all actors here. We all act. We wear masks. We have walls. We slam doors. Where have you leaked in your life, and where have you slammed a door? And would you like to open that door again? And tell the truth and tell it faster.